And we're going to give Facebook a minute to catch up. Share and post, because the more people that we get on this live, the more gifts I get to give away. So this time, I have a handmade bracelet that I'm giving away. So if that's something you want in on, the way to do that is to share and when we get 50 people, then I will be able to give that gift away. Sorry, I'm doing lives on two different things. So hang on. Tick tock, tick tock. Hang on. You there with me? Hello? Give me a thumbs up. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah. So, good evening, good evening, good evening. I know it's in the middle of your holiday stuff, but I have a gift for you and some information that I know that you need. So, with that being said, we're going to talk about self-sabotage and limiting beliefs. And I had a 2-hour conversation about this last night, which you weren't privy to, but tag and share away. And if you prefer to watch on YouTube, I'm also streaming live right now over there, so jump in if you want. All right. So remember, the rules are, and when I get started, I'll explain this a little bit further. So what we're going to talk about tonight is the stuff around being in your limiting beliefs and in your fear and in your procrastination or in your self-sabotage. You know what I mean? So what happens is that we have life experience, right? And I'm going to talk slowly because I want Facebook to catch up with us as well as other people. So what happens is that we get to this place where we observe the circumstances of what's happening, right? And we can see that we're choosing a wrong choice, but we don't stop ourselves in the moment from creating that friction or the drama or whatever. And so what occurs is this, this feeling of, I got a tickle in my throat, so hang on. It occurs as this thing that we need to control, right? That we need to make go our way, or almost if you would force a direction or control the outcome, and we start over. What we do as intuitives is we overanalyze our responsibility in it, or our, what's the word? Our ego tells us that we have a responsibility in it. Let's say, for example, there's a trauma that happens in the family, right? And you want to fix it, or you want to help mend it, right? And then the person doesn't respond to you, or doesn't communicate with you. And so then you go into, well, what is this about me? Is this about them? You know, the intuitive person is doing that. The empathic person is doing that, right? The other person on the other side is sabotaging the situation or making it be something that it's not, right? And so what happens is the communication between the parties involved, right, is literally non-existent, okay? And so what happens is the mind likes, and listen to me carefully, okay? This is very important and relative. The mind likes to feed on the drama. It likes to create more drama, if you would. And so what happens is that this feed, right, of drama, negativity gets addictive. Some people are actually addicted to drama, you know, and what occurs is it creates a dopamine effect, the same as any addiction, right? And so when someone tries to break that cycle, i.e. the intuitive or the one that's awake or whatever, when you try to break that, what happens is you then have this response of no one wants to break the cycle because everyone's addicted to the problem being there or the drama being there. No one wants to look at what the issue is, right? Or fix the problem or whatever the case may be because it's too much, right? It's too much. There's too much going on or whatever. But it's really the addiction to the problem being there or the addiction to the fight or the addiction to the drama. And after that occurring over and over and over again, what transpires is this lower level vibration that begins to feed itself. It feeds itself, right? And it brings more negativity, more pain, more anguish on both sides. And then it spins out of both parties or all parties control. It spins out of control. And everyone is sort of kind of in a way paralyzed to be able to interject and cause a shift because the drama and the friction has taken on a life of its own, which creates other things to come at it to create more friction and therefore distancing you from the resolution that you actually seek. So your ego plays a part in that because it wants to be right. And so what happens typically is that we're fighting to be right. We're not fighting for the relationship. We're not fighting for love. We're fighting to be right. We're fighting to prove a point. We're fighting to get heard, have our validation, whatever the case may be. And the truth is there anyone right in that? Please tell me. Give me a thumbs up. Tell me. Tell me. More often in family situations, it's more about the conversations don't get complete. The healing doesn't happen because someone wants to be right. And sometimes that can be the empath, the healer, the intuitive one. Sometimes that can be you, you know, not realizing it's you, but playing playing the victim role in it, right? Addicted to playing the victim role, also validating that life is against you and not for you. You get what I'm saying? Give me a thumbs up if you're hearing what I'm saying. Is it resonating yet? Are you seeing the places where you need that drama to feel alive? Yeah. So what occurs is this deep sense of validation for feeling unworthy. See, I'm not worthy. I'm not valid. So I invite you to look at where in your life is your belief system, the beliefs that you are. Where are those in your life, and how are they contributing to the drama and the cycle that's getting created over and over and over again? Because the truth is that addiction to the drama and just perpetuates more of the same thing. And it's a cycle that never ends until someone bails on it, and someone pulls the plug and says it's enough, and I just want love in my life, and I want peace, and I want harmony, and I'm not interested in being right for the sake of being right, because rightness comes in the act of honoring the truth, your soul, their soul, all of the above. And it never was about being right in the first place. It's about honoring love and honoring truth. And so really what transpires is this detachment from, just let me describe it like this to you. Just the same as relationships, positive relationships or love relationships, have an energy between the two of you, between the two parties involved in the relationship, between the two sisters, between the two brothers, between the mother and the father, between the mother and the daughter, or between the whatever it is. There's an energy that is the relationship, okay? And then when you add that piece of drama or that piece of friction into it, that takes a life of its own, right? And you're almost powerless to change the direction if you feed it. If you feed it, meaning giving it your attention, your energy, your thoughts, your pain. If you give it that, then it will take on more energy and more energy and more energy and more energy. And then all the parties involved are powerless. And let me tell you, I've heard this from many, many, many families right now that are suffering deep pain and anguish of separation. Separation from parents, separation from children, separation from siblings, separation from people that came into the family unit who caused disruption and mayhem. There's a ton of things happening within our relationships right now. And one of the things that I am such a supporter of is understanding that relationships are our greatest reflection and teacher. They are. But that doesn't mean as the intuitive or and I say this because most of the people that listen to me are the intuitives, are the empathic people. That doesn't mean that you take on that, okay? That you take on that being the conscious one or being the connected one or the responsible one, right? It means that maybe you need to be responsible to yourself because you have the power to take off that energy and reflect on it internally, because the other people cannot in the situation. And in truth, you're the most powerful person in that situation. Do you hear what I'm saying? Just take a breath for a minute. I'm coming in a little bit softer on this because it needs that nurturing. It needs that compassion. You need that. And so I say this to you hoping that the family cycles and the dramas and the generational healing and all of that stuff that needs to happen is broken free. That it doesn't need to cause that stress in your life and the pain and the over-analyzing and the sleepless nights and the crying and the worry and the frustration and the children that are separated from their parents and the siblings that aren't speaking to each other for years over egotistical things, when really there's only one thing that ever really mattered in the first place: just love. Just love. And to the people that made this decision to separate, right? And it doesn't mean, not having boundaries, right? Not standing up for yourself. But it's witnessing the truth in the reflection of what's occurring, right? So if you can understand that relationships are our greatest teacher, this is what Buddha and all of these major transformational healers and master teachers went and did. They went off into the forest and they had years and years of mind work, emotional work, ego work, all of the things. And they came out, emerged, transformed. Their ego was transformed, their mind was transformed, their heart was transformed, and all they knew was love. And all they talked about was love. And all they did was go around and say, there's nothing but love, right? But today, what is the forest? Take a minute, because I really want you to hear this. What is the forest? What is the trees? And 40 years of meditation alone is relationships. All kinds of relationships. Those are your greatest teachers and the greatest source of your insight into who you are. It is the window to the soul. And your greatest lessons and your greatest gifts come from those interactions from people. And it's not the thing of turning a cheek and then, putting up with or tolerating or, saying there's only love. There is boundaries and there is, consequences for decisions. But not based on the place of ego and not based on the place of me against you or you against I or, they did this or I'm going to do this in retaliation. It's not about that. And in relationship to other people, meaning romantically and, that sort of relationship, intimate relationships really are the window to the soul. And the ashram, or the temple, that used to be back in the day when the monks used to go to the temple and pray. Questions? Because I'm going to pause for a minute. And I'm being a little softer with my energy because this is a pretty heavy topic. And one I actually discussed at quite a bit of length last night, talking about what's occurring in this world right now. There's a great separation, a great divide, and not one that I want to give my attention to, because my goal is always to heal and transform. And so that which I give my attention to, instead of enlightening you, is what grows. And whatever we do as a group, whatever we focus on in our conversation also grows. So I'm going to take a minute and let you ask questions. Before we go. So, anyone? Like I told you, if we get, so I'm going to run through it again before I go to the next subject. But if we get 50 live viewers and we have, I don't know how many shares. I think she put it in there, my lovely assistant, because I have to have an assistant these days. And it's in there live. So if you're catching it, hopefully you are. Any questions, anybody, before I go on to the next inspirational moment from yours truly? Okay, so the question yesterday that I got was, I had a past life regression with somebody, and the question or the statement that I posed to the person was, they helped me grow and develop closer to my authentic self. And if relationships are balanced and they serve both people and they're coming from a place of love and harmony and honor and respect, then they can cause, the nature of relationships is they cause you to break open and break through to a greater connection of yourself, and vice versa. So does the other person. And therefore causing a mutual respect and divine appreciation for the other person. That's the goal of relationship, is to be with another person, and then they cause these cracks and these openings in your soul that you get to learn about yourself and dream and become a greater version of yourself. That's always the goal. It's always the goal. Now, they can either do that through friction, resistance, or you can do it through harmony, through love and deep appreciation and respect. It doesn't matter where the person's coming from. It just is the even exchange between two people. No matter what the position is, it could be your mom, it could be your dad, it could be your sister, it could be a friend, it could be your kids, it could be, anything. Think about those of you who've had kids, think about the transformational moment that was. It broke you open to understand a greater sense of love that you never knew existed. That is the same principle that applies to all people that you have relationships with, as long as it's built in harmony and both sides are in alignment. Think about that. Think about that for a second. If each and every person is both meant to learn from you and you are meant to learn from them, wouldn't that be what you're asking for? Wouldn't that be peace? Wouldn't that be harmony, love? That's what you asked for. Except you're resisting it in all kinds of places and all kinds of parts in your life. Why? Because the normal, the addiction is drama, fight, me against you. Ego, my ego against yours, my mind against yours, my beliefs against yours, my righteousness against yours. We have to be different, because then how do I exist? Because if we're the same, then I'm not unique. Listen to what I just said. Take a minute and take that in, because that's huge. It's huge. Righteousness, ego. And by all means, yes, put up the boundaries when they're needed. But understand that when you shift your mindset to understand that life and people and your circumstances are just here to teach you anyway about a greater version of yourself, then why fight? Why allow the drama to continue? Why feed the fire and give it more than it deserves? It never deserved your attention in the first place, right? Whatever the circumstance is. It's like the toddler that throws a fit on the floor and screams and hollers. If you scream and holler in return, what are they getting? They're getting what they wanted. Drama. They're feeling out of control. So then you are feeding that, okay? You are feeding that. You see what I'm saying? Give me a thumbs up if you're still with me. I want to make sure because I just lost connection on my other feed, so I swear. Okay, good. I know you're there. All right. So, what are you going to do about that? You know, it's that thing around whatever you give your attention to grows, whatever you feed grows. And your mind is nothing but landmines anyway. It's just a regurgitation of everything you've ever learned from your parents, from the world around you. And when you're young, you know, when you're a little one, we teach our kids what things are. You know, this is a banana, this is a tree, this is a cookie, this is whatever, right? And they learn about the world around us from us. And so they're watching everything that we do. It's kind of sad, right? But there's this thing around being true, being authentic to yourself, holding yourself in right vibration with yourself, and honoring the fact that, you know, they are looking to you to not define, but actually allow them to be authentic to themselves and allow themselves to be true. And so what occurs is this friction between what parents are supposed to do or what you're supposed to be doing as a person in general, and not acknowledging the truth about who you are, who you want to be as a parent, what kind of relationships you want to have. And you go into the obligation of what society tells you. You know, it is this or it is that. You know, one of the things that for me, it was very important to raise my kids, you know, knowing about meditation and knowing how to deal with emotions because they were both empathic. All three of my kids are very empathic. And one of the things that I taught them when they were younger is to ask themselves, is this mine or is this someone else's? And this is still applies to adults, right? When you're feeling a feeling or an uncomfortable vibration or whatever, is this mine or someone else's? No judgment on that. It just is or it is not, right? And so when you move into the non-judgmental view of what that is, and you stop letting things get defined as other things, me against you, righteousness, ego, all of it. It has no place. It really does not have any place within relationships. It's what causes all the battles in history, and, you know, we're just repeating the cycle, you know? And really, it's not authentic to who we are. It really isn't authentic to who we are. So this time of year, when we are getting around family and you're having those interactions and you're doing things with your kids and you're thinking about your brothers and sisters and you've lost family, one of the things that I want you to think about is, 1, what is this relationship teaching me about myself? 2, How do I feed what I want in this relationship? And 3, am I putting that relationship above my own needs in order to save something that I don't need to save? Causing you to become resentful, angry, and bitter. Or maybe there's some healing that you need to let go of so that resolution can happen. And maybe you weren't right. Maybe you weren't right. Maybe you were actually wrong, convincing yourself that you were right. Think about those things as you go into this holiday season, and remember, the truth of this season really is to come together, but come together not in an obligation, but a true responsibility to what relationship is and what it was meant to be and what it has been all along. The greatest teacher of your life is in the reflection of other people. And if you take that on, if you really take it on, you'll understand who you really are. So, I invite you to honor yourself, to stand in your authentic self. And so, with that being said, I'm going to take a breath there for a moment because that was really deep and not at all what I had planned for today. So any questions that you have, shoot them over to me. You can text them in the link. However, I will tell you that I have two things that I launched. One being my subscription group. I didn't mention that the other day, but it's live. You can join me for 3 months. You can join me every month. You can join me for a whole entire year. Totally up to you. I have all 3 options. If you buy the year, what you get, or just if you sign up for the year, you get 33% off of the whole entire year. What you get in my subscription group is 2 lives with me every single month. You get, and now if you understand, like my hourly rate is $1,500 to work with me in person. Just so you're aware. And the subscription service is allowing me to come to you live, okay, twice a month in a group setting. First being, I'm going to teach, like I just taught right now, about something that I feel like you guys need to understand and learn from. Second part of the month will be question and answer, where I will take questions from the group and answer them live. A live healing, a live transformation, 2 parts, okay? One for your mind and which is really your ego. And the second part for your intellectual life journey. So, that being said, that's in the link in this live. Go click it. There's a monthly option, a 3-month option, and a year option. And I recommend it, and it's not something that I've ever offered before. Normally my groups, to work with me in a group, have sold out and been in a whole different category. So I wanted to offer you guys something that would be transformational, but would give you the most impact that I could offer you. And information and application, being able to apply it into your life, is something that I knew that I needed to do. So with that being said, the link's up there in the description. I'll also post it down here in the comments. But if something you're interested in, give that gift to yourself. You can also give that gift to someone else if you feel like they need it. But in there, you'll see that the date is going to be, the first date that we start is December 28th this month, right before the new year. And then the next one's going to be just after New Year's. So I believe that we set them up for Tuesday and Thursday, and I could be incorrect about that, but I think we set them up for Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I highly recommend it for you to jump in and start your journey. It's time. Okay. If you know of anyone that is interested in this, please tag them, share the video, feel free. I'm also on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. You can find me in all the places, in all the jams. Okay. I'm telling you, it's insanity. All right. All my love. I wish you a great, fantastic evening. Get out of your head and be in your heart and honor your authentic self in your heart. You're love and you know it. So just go be that. All right. Bye.